What is up, guys? EJ here, aka Puckbond007, and welcome to the Movie Reviewers 100, this great collaboration channel on YouTube or Google Tube or Facebook, whatever you like, that I am proud to be a part of. Of course, that is a reference to the complete mess up of the integration of Google Plus with YouTube now. Because of that, we created a Facebook fan page, and the link will be in the description, so go check it out. All our videos will be posted there along with our videos here on YouTube, but we'll be posting other stuff like updates and pictures and questions, and make it more interactive, and so people who don't want to comment through Google Plus here on YouTube can comment on the videos there as well. So this week is an awesome week. It's Christopher Walken week, an iconic character actor, if you like, and been in so many great films since the 70s. The Deer Hunter in 1978, which he won a Academy Award for, of course. Awesome, one of my favorite films about Vietnam. Great work in the 80s, of course. One of the best Bond villains, Zorin in View to a Kill. And he's just a guy who continues to work and work non-stop. I mean, he's been in so many films in just recent 7 or 8 years. I mean, he pops up in great comedies and has a great sense of humor, a completely distinctive style of talking, and the way he moves, the look with the hair and everything about him is just so interesting, so charismatic, and just a great actor overall. Alan led the week off yesterday with a great review of Sleepy Hollow, one of my favorite Tim Burton films, one of my favorite horror legends, period. I just love that story, and Tim Burton and that story was sort of made for each other. The atmosphere of that film is just great. And Walken's awesome as the Hessian, riding around at the beginning of the film, lopping off heads, screaming and yelling, showing those the carved teeth. Just awesome. So the film I'm going to talk about today is a really cool film from the late 90s, 1998 in fact, and that's Suicide Kings, directed by Peter O'Fallon. Peter O'Fallon really hasn't done much film work. I think he made a TV movie, but he's worked a lot in television since the early to mid 90s, and today he's still directing TV episodes. I think the latest show he's working on is called Legit, which I haven't seen, but he's done a ton of television work. The film stars Jay Mohr, Henry Thomas, Sean Patrick Flannery, Jeremy Sisto as 4 New York college friends who one night decide to kidnap a former mob boss, a renowned mobster played by Christopher Walken, who plays Charlie Barrett, aka Carlo Bartolucci. One night at the Plaza Hotel, where Charlie goes to have a drink, these 3 guys are sitting in his booth, and these 3 guys, instead of moving from the booth, Charlie says, "Hey, I'll sit down and have a drink with you guys," and then they decide to go out. But the guys have other motives, of course. They're going to kidnap him. They subdue him on the ride home, basically, with chloroform. It doesn't really quite go according to plan. That's a great scene in the tunnel. They're kidnapping him to hold him for ransom because one of the guys' sister has been kidnapped herself, and she is being held for a $2 million ransom, and they figure the best way to pay it is to get this mobster to pay it, and that's what they do. It's a very interesting film. It's very slick and very stylish. It's just a really cool film. It's got a great cast. Dennis Leary plays Lono. He's basically Christopher Walken's right-hand man, and also his chauffeur. I love all the scenes of Dennis Leary riding around trying to figure out what's going on. And there's this great conversation with the guy he's driving around with. And the guy he's driving with played one of the characters on The Sopranos, which I just watched this summer. It's the guy who was outed as I believe it was Vito. Is that his name? I don't know the actor's name, but I think it was Vito. He was outed on the show. He was gay. He fled for a while, went AWOL, and then of course got whacked when he got back to town. Basically, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, but he's the guy he's riding around with, and Dennis Leary has bought these like $1,500 stingray boots, not just fish boots. They're stingray, and there's all these great funny conversations about men's footwear and clothing and what is appropriate to spend on I don't know, $1,500 shoes. Sort of taken from Dennis Leary's act. A lot of the stuff he does and says in this movie is sort of akin to his stand-up routine, which is great because his stand-up is awesome, and he's just got this great sort of delivery throughout the movie. He and Walken are like the two highlights of this film for me, as is somebody else. And that person is, of course, the great Johnny Galecki, aka Leonard, from The Big Bang Theory. He thinks he's having these four guys over for poker for the night at his parents' house, a very sort of nice, stately home. And when they show up with Christopher Walken bandaged up and strapped to a chair, he freaks out. He's like, "What are you guys doing? You're sick. This guy's gonna kill us. You guys don't know that? I mean, when this is over, we're all dead." And he plays Ira. And sort of the motto of this movie is, "Ira is the man." He and Christopher Walken have this great dialogue throughout the film. Christopher Walken sort of respects him, and he just likes Ira, and Ira is cool, and he had nothing to do with it in the first place. So Ira is basically trying to kiss up to Christopher Walken, Charlie, to save his own ass, and also from his parents as well, because it's obvious his parents don't let him sort of go his own way. Yeah, so Johnny Galecki basically playing the same character from The Big Bang Theory. Very nerdy, very neurotic, and he doesn't look any different than he does now. That's what's so funny. This film was made probably 10 years before The Big Bang Theory, and he basically looks the same. I mean, this guy doesn't age at all. He basically looks the same as he did when he was on Roseanne back in the day, for crying out loud. But he must be like close to 40 now, for crying out loud, or at least mid to late 30s. So yeah, they hold Christopher Walken in this house. Various stuff happens. They play poker at one point. There's lots of interesting conversations. There might be an inside player. And meanwhile, Charlie's lawyer calls up Lono, Dennis Leary, to find out who these kidnappers are and what's going on and make the money exchange and all that. I don't want to go into any more than that because there's some really interesting twists and turns towards the end of the film. The last couple scenes are just awesome. I love the last scene in this movie. Yeah, it's just a really cool, slick film. Great dialogue, great characters, and a really good cast. I also should mention Nina Samesco is in this film as well. And the only thing I really know Nina Samesco from is License to Drive, which I reviewed on this channel for the Two Corys week, because it's one of my favorite Corey Feldman and Corey Haim movies. And she plays the annoying sister in that movie, which I talked about, Natalie. And man, she grew up to be a looker, because I totally forgot she was even in this movie. But when I saw it again, she plays Jennifer, the hostess at the hotel, the Plaza. And at one point, Dennis Leary goes to her house to ask about the guys that Christopher Walken ran into that night at the Plaza, and we meet Jennifer's alcoholic father, and Dennis Leary has this great scene with the father, and he ends up beating the crap out of him with a toaster. That's an awesome scene, and yeah, Nina Samesco turned in quite a looker, and I barely even recognized her when she came on screen. So, Brad Garrett is also in the movie from, was it Everybody Loves Raymond? Not a fan of that show, but I know he was on that. He plays one of the kidnappers, or would-be kidnappers. yeah, it's a really good cast, really interesting film, and I should also mention, of course, since it's Christopher Walken week, there it is, Suicide Kings. Christopher Walken is synonymous with the art of impression, imitation, and one of the best is Jay Mohr. He does a great Christopher Walken. If you're linked to our Facebook page already, I posted a video of Jay Mohr doing Christopher Walken. There's also another video on YouTube that I'm going to put a link to in the description. And the other video will be posted in the description as well, of Jay Mohr doing Christopher Walken, but he's telling the story that happened on the set of this film while they were shooting, about Jay Mohr's dog that doesn't have a tail. And there's this great story that Jay Mohr tells in this clip. There's no video, it's just a blank screen. Some sign is up, but you hear the audio. It's obviously during a stand-up or something like that. And Jay Mohr tells this great story using the Christopher Walken voice, of course, for all his lines, and it's completely hilarious and really funny. And yeah, so there's lots of famous guys who do Christopher Walken. There's some like compilation videos on YouTube of guys doing Christopher Walken. I've seen YouTubers do Christopher Walken as well. Some of the best, like I said, Jay Mohr, Kevin Spacey does a really good Christopher Walken, Kevin Pollak as well. So yeah, check those out if you're into that kind of things. There's some funny stuff on there, so I'll put the links in the description, like I said. So that is my choice for Christopher Walken week. An awesome actor, awesome movie, Suicide Kings. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Just a cool film. So thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.